Hello everyone, welcome to Daily Download number 14. And I'm going to point out that this is the 14th download because I'm going to piggyback on number 13. Yesterday we talked about breathing and feeling and then just flipping the switch with whatever comes along in your day so that you're not takedownable, so that you're not affected by the little things that happen, things that people do, situations, scenarios. And everything, when we start talking about embodiment, integration, it really all becomes a whole bunch of paradoxes, because what I shared yesterday is going to seem like maybe it sort of contradicts with today's message, but I want to integrate this all together because everything really turns into an and. It's this and this. It's not this or that. We need to be able to do this over here and incorporate so much. So, breathe and feel. We'll just start with a deep breath together. Coming into that space of breathing, come into your heart, feel your presence, sit back, relax, or if you're out walking, breathe and feel your presence. And of course, we don't want to give our day, our life away to outside events, but let's be realistic here. We have. And most of the decisions that we made that affect our mind, our body, and our outside world were in fact done at a very young age. All this information, beliefs, and energies and emotions are really stored through the subconscious mind, the subpsyche. Call that your multidimensional self, because so much is still going on beyond the conscious mind. It's like PTSD that affects everything. They say people don't really make logical decisions. For the most part, it's all emotional. And how skewed is that? Because every emotion that was ever created was created out of judgment, out of duality, out of polarity. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. So it's really important that we clear out the old emotional gunk. Because that gunk is not just in your belief systems, in your mind, it's in your body. It's affecting your physical body. It affects your health. And most importantly, it affects your ability to express yourself, to live life, to just express and be you from the inside out. So, the question is, how do we know the difference here between when we just hit the light switch, breathe and feel, and then when we actually need to address something? Well, I'll say, anytime you feel a charge, a trigger, you feel something funky in your body, you know that there's still something there. There's still something embodied, some content, whatever. And if you feel off when you're with someone, when somebody talks to you, calls you, whether it's watching TV or your neighbor, when you feel a charge, an emotional response within you, you know that you got some emotional content there. And it's not something where we need to go and dig everything up, because it comes right here. It comes right into your everyday awareness. And when you're living in breath, presence, awareness, and you're feeling everything, you're just aware of so much going on all the time, you will notice the big themes, okay? And where I will say it comes up a lot, because again, we've mostly created all these, I'll say it, root causes in our young age. For the most part, you will be able to attribute a lot of this to childhood, parents, siblings, teachers, young friends, whatever. But whatever you've created an emotional reaction to is going to keep showing up in your everyday life. It's just going to keep coming back to you. It's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep showing up. That person's always going to show up that annoys you. Why? Not to annoy you. It's showing up to serve you, actually, because energy naturally, very, very naturally resolves itself, okay? So energy serves you. It's always serving you. And it might feel like an annoyance. That's how you know. Until you look at it and go, why does this bug me? Breathe and feel. And then it's, there's a lot of discernment here, which we won't go into in this video. But there's times where it's time to speak up, it's time to act and really do you. And going back to yesterday's video, I said, what is worth giving your power away? You're giving your energy away. You're letting somebody siphon it off when you can let them change how you feel, what you say, and what you do. So if they can affect your emotional state, or if they can affect your words, your actions, that's a lot of power to give away. Now, where we've given this power away before, where we have embodied emotional energy, where we have emotional blocks that are affecting our physical health, is completely going to show up in your world. And so just ask yourself, where am I not honoring myself? Where am I, it starts out with being really honest. How do I really feel about this? Do I really want to do this, or do I feel like I should? Am I doing this because it feels joyful, or because I feel obligated, like I owe something to someone? Do I feel good about this? Am I afraid to do what I want to do because of somebody else's reaction, or say what I want to say, to honor myself, to express my genuine feelings? And that's gonna bring it up for you right there. Now, the question is, how do you move this energy? Because you can get energy work done, you can go get Reiki done for you, but in the end, it's not permanent until you embody it and you express it. So let's just make it permanent. Now, for myself, in the beginning, I was so closed down, I couldn't speak to save my life. In my head, I'd be like, just speak up, just say something, okay? And I can assure you that if you feel closed down, if you feel like you can't talk, if you can't speak out, that you absolutely positively, you can get to a point where you can say everything and anything with ease, with a smile on your face, the whole time knowing that you are being truthful and honest within yourself. And if the other person doesn't like it, no big deal. But let's honor that in the moment that you are trying to express through this inner sludge. It can feel like terror. It can feel like somebody, has a grip around your throat. So I want to acknowledge that. And just, if you're feeling that, take a breath and just know that you've got this, okay? So how do we get through it? Well, I've shared a lot about journaling. I've shared a lot about expression. The big picture is really to know that it starts with awareness. So whether you're reading books, watching videos, you're thinking, okay, you're starting to get some awareness here. But the awareness really has to come through the physical. And you can start doing that by just being honest with yourself about your feelings. Journaling it out is wonderful. And personally, I'm not as big of a fan of journaling as I am of speaking. I do journal. I write some stuff, but it always feels better to speak it out because, in everyday life with people, we're not going to be writing them notes usually. You might write an email, but learning to speak is the most important thing, and act from there. So it's like, I've shared an example in a past video about where at one point I didn't even have the words. There were situations in my life with people, and I just couldn't even just express myself. I just didn't even know how to say it, what to say it. I just knew I was frustrated. And so that's where at times we really do need other people to help us out. whether it's a friend, a family member, somebody who's in your everyday life. And, like sometimes I'll ask my 15-year-old daughter, hey, what do you think about this? What would you say? What would you do? And you'll be surprised. Sometimes other people are just like, well, I would do this, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh my God, that's so easy and obvious. Why couldn't I do that? Well, because you've never done it. These are new ways of acting, right down to your brain, all the little neural pathways. You've just never created this pattern. You've never done it. And you can see somebody else doing it so easily. So don't judge yourself. Whatever you do, never ever judge yourself, okay? It all is for a reason, okay? So you can ask somebody. If you don't have anybody in your immediate world, then get a facilitator, a counselor, a therapist. I do sessions with people large in part because at one point, nobody else in my life was really capable of helping me through certain things. And so I have been very, we'll say, outspoken about how wonderful and how beneficial it was for me to have a facilitator who helped me through some really sticky things, right? So as you're evolving, a lot of times you're going to evolve, and then maybe the people in your immediate environment aren't really going to be able to help you anymore because you're kind of going into new territory, we'll say. But speak it out loud. So have somebody be the example for you. A lot of times you can just watch videos, read books, and get that example, and then just start doing it. Eventually you become your own facilitator. You become your own everything, right? This is a journey of honesty, integrity. Call that unconditional love, but it all starts with you. So it's self-love. So we start to learn how to work with ourselves more and more and more. And let's just say a quick example. You have a situation. There's somebody in your life that's just bugging you. Maybe they're draining you, sucking the life out of you. Maybe they're a victim. They're crying, they're whining, they need your help. Maybe they're the opposite. They're the oppressor. They're telling you what to do, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. There's some situation in your life where you feel like a change is in order. If you're a little afraid to have that conversation, if you don't feel like you can clearly articulate yourself very easily, then do what I've done lots of times. Sit them down in a chair next to you and start to have that conversation, and let it be rough. Just let it fly. If you want to swear, swear. They're not really there. But to your mind and body, it's just as real. So you're starting to move that energy. Those old emotions that are in here that stopped you from speaking your truth, you're moving them every time you have that conversation, right? So, just let it fly, whatever it is. If you want to tell them you think that they've been being a jerk, say it. Say whatever you want, because it's just getting the energy out. This is energy work for yourself. And you can do this and do this and do this until eventually you can look back and say, am I really happy with that result? Is that a conversation I would like to have? Was it loving? Was it honest? Was it sincere? Was it really taking into account what's in my highest and best good and the highest and best good of that person? Was it coming from the heart? Because once you clear those gunky emotions that might just be like, rah, 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 ah, then you're going to get to the heart of the matter, okay? It's in there. And the heart of the matter is going to be compassionate. It's going to be compassionate, kind, direct. Not everybody's always going to receive it that way, but I promise you, when you get beyond and you clear out those old energies, the compassion is going to flow. They're going to feel that you're coming from a place of true honoring, that you truly just want what's best. So instead of projecting a bunch of emotions, you're going to be flowing from the heart, from your truth. So that's a little exercise you can try. And then when you go ahead and have the conversation in the physical without all that pent up energy and emotion, it's just going to flow and be nice and light and just totally awesome. And you know what? If it's not, it's okay. Because at least you moved the energy, at least you broke an old pattern, at least you took what you've been thinking and feeling and knowing and you brought it through the physical, which is huge. It's a huge game changer. And it's going to have a wonderful effect on how you feel mentally, physically, emotionally, really on every level. So sometimes it serves to breathe and feel and just hit that light switch and not think about anything. Actually, that serves a lot of the time. But when you got some sticky point in your life and you got to address it, this is one way you can do it. I would say you've got to address it if you want to feel clearer. And you'll know because as you address these things, all of a sudden, poof, they disappear. You don't have any sticky things going on in your life. And now you can just breathe and feel and be in your presence. And then when something arises, you're like, oh, great, something to deal with. Easy peasy. So make it easy on yourself. But the easy route, up front, there's some things that seem difficult to deal with. But once you express through that sludge, you move through it, then it becomes easier and easier. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's end with a nice deep breath. Just take a breath, feel your presence. Always coming back to that. Namaste.